poachers in South Africa's Kruger National Park, which is the largest national park in the entire continent of Africa. The game reserve on the Kruger National Park in 2013, before the black mambas were formed, lost in 3 months 19 rhinos to poachers. But after the black mambas were formed, for the 13 months after they were active, no rhinos were lost to poachers. The second all-women group is Akashinga, which translates into the brave ones. They operate in the Zambezi Valley in Zimbabwe. They are armed, and they protect the elephants that live in the Zambezi Valley. I've seen videos of both of these groups before, but I had to watch several others last night to make sure that I had my facts right. But I want to tell you a little bit more about the Akashinga, because the video that I watched was fascinating. They interviewed both the women and the Australian basically commando that was training them. And they also then, a photographer came in and they interviewed him as well as he was taking pictures of these women. And they were talking about how the men in the village at first didn't have any respect because it was all women. But the guy who trained them told the story that in a similar village not that far away, he gathered 189 men to train them. The third day, there were 3 left. He gathered 37 women to do the same work. When he got through, only 3 had left. So he was pretty amazed that these women would keep on, and said that he basically pushed them through everything that he could think of. But what one of the women said was fascinating to me, because she said at the very end, "You tell those poachers, if they bother my elephants, I will come after them." And I thought that was a great attitude. But there's also, and I have to read this because I want to get this completely right, the photographer that was actually with them said, "Conservation is self-preservation. What we have done to our planet will end up happening to us. So what we have done to the animals, we have done to ourselves." That area before the Akashinga came there had lost 8,000 elephants in the last 15 years. All over Africa, 20,000 elephants are killed each year simply for their tusks, for the illegal ivory trade. Their bodies are left to rot. I wanted to tell that story because my feeling about animals is in Genesis. I think that animals, all animals, are a gift from God. And I think as humanity, all of the animals, including the elephants and the rhinos and everybody that's on the face of the earth, was given to humanity as gifts. I threatened Jill, I said, you know, what I should do in this sermon is just go through the names of all the animals that have gone extinct in the last 20 years. She wouldn't let me do it because the list was too long and she told me it was too depressing, which is right, it would be too depressing. So I think I want to focus on what people are doing to save animals. And I want to say something in particular about Christian efforts to save animals. The ladies in both of these groups, I don't know their religious affiliation. They didn't talk about that. But I'm hoping that they are Christian. And I'm hoping that that is their attitude toward animals because of the way they see animals. I was going to say, if somebody is talking about my elephants, I want to work with her to take care of animals. But I also have a little story to tell you. One day over at OSU, I was walking with a friend, and I have a name for spring. My name for spring is the season of dead worms. Earthworms have two choices in the spring. They can either drown in the soaked earth, or they can crawl up on the sidewalk and either be picked off by the birds or, dry up. So I was walking with a friend over at OSU, and without even thinking, we were walking along, and it was spring, the season of dead earthworms, and I noticed in front of us there was a live earthworm. I didn't even think about it. I'd forgotten. I don't usually do this in public, but I leaned over and picked up the worm and just put it right beside the sidewalk, someplace where it's kind of, and she just looked at me for like 10 seconds. And I'm like, okay, what? What are you going to say? And she looked at me and she said, "How very Buddhist of you." And I don't know if I said it out loud, but I remember thinking, I thought that was very Christian of me. My Christianity tells me that God gave me animals to take care of, to be a steward of animals, to make sure that they live and we don't lose more of them. So I want y'all to go out there and have it be very Christian of you to take care of the animals.